Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Scott and Dave here, getting ready to review Xanadu. Hoo-yah!
Yeah,
How'd you
Xanadu.
like it?
It was the first time I've ever seen it. I've heard a
Oh,
lot of people talk about just how horrible it was,
mhm,
and I understand it is. Um, I have a lot of issues with this movie, but I
mhm,
do have good things to say about it as well.
right.
I'm just going to fire off with the first thing that's good, and about the only thing that's, well, not the only thing, but damn near. The
Mhm.
soundtrack is great.
Ah, Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah,
Yeah, couldn't
good
go wrong
songs.
with
I
it.
was listening to it before we came on today, and it's like, this is a
Right.
pretty damn good soundtrack.
Yeah, yeah, I'll give you that.
But it's a mess, dude.
Here's my problem with Xanadu. And after watching, because after I watched we got the disc, so I watched like one of the little special featurette things after the movie, and I remember watching this before. And the problem with Xanadu is somebody had an idea to make a roller skate disco movie because that's what was popular at the
Right.
time. And initially, it was supposed to be a very low budget movie, no stars, just kind of like break dancing, electric boogaloo
Right.
movie, nothing big. Then Olivia Newton-John signed on, and suddenly you've got a big star. Budget went up, expectations rise,
Mm-hmm.
script stayed the same. Then Gene Kelly signs on,
I,
expectations explode, dance numbers are going to improve exponentially,
mm-hmm.
script stayed the same. And everybody wants to blame the director. Well, the director was looking at 45 pages of a script, called in one of his friends, his writers, and said, I need you to fix this. Or somebody called in a writer and said, you have to fix this. We can't, this is unfilmable.
Right.
Handed it off. They're getting ready to shoot. They finally got Gene Kelly to say yes, he'll do the movie, and then B, he'll dance. Well, guy's name, the choreographer is Kenny Ortega. He's the guy who got Gene Kelly on. And the way he got Gene Kelly to sign on to this was Gene Kelly locked him in the room and they started talking because he wasn't sure if he even wanted to do the movie. So Gene Kelly, after talking to the guy, says, I'll do the movie, but I'm not going to dance. Now, anybody who doesn't know who Gene Kelly is that might hear this is that's what he was known for. He was a song and dancing
Exactly.
guy. That's
I
what
can't
he did.
imagine that he said, "Yeah, I'll do it, but not dance." That's it. I mean, one of the reasons you would want Gene Kelly in your movie.
And the funny thing is, when he says that Ortega, he says, "But if I was going to dance, what kind of thing would you expect?" So this guy, being a huge Gene Kelly fan, he knew kind of some of the stuff that he did. He stood up and started showing him some of his own dance moves. And as he's doing them, Gene Kelly's naming the moves. Oh, that's this. Oh, that's that. He gets up and starts dancing with the guy. So they dance for like a half hour, 45 minutes. They break out a sweat. When they leave, Gene Kelly walks out and says, I'll do the movie. I'll be there whenever. So time comes to shoot the freaking film. They still don't have the script. They start shooting without the script. As the script starts coming in, the director's like, yes, the script got longer, but they didn't fix anything. So all the holes and all the problems that they had were still there. It just got stretched out.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with this movie. Kent and I were talking about this. It's in the old musicals, if somebody walked in, like that guy's at one point painting, and the muse shows up, Olivia Newton-John's
Mm-hmm.
character shows up, and he's only there for 2 freaking minutes, man. And she shows up, and he's like, "Oh, hey!" And his initial reaction is done. That's it. Just, "Oh, hey!" Not, "Okay, weird girl that just
Yeah.
roller skated up to me, kissed me, and now you're sneaking into my highly
Yeah. He
secure
was
area that
not.
I'm supposed to be in." He
Yeah.
wasn't shocked. In the old movies, they would have showed the girl sneaking in, or they would have at least had the guy looked at her and said, "How did you get in here?" There was none of that. Everything
No.
was just, "Oh, I accept it." Oh, the girl, when she's roller skating, she's fading in and out, which I thought was a beautiful scene because she's the little
Yes.
girl next door. I mean, Christ, it's Olivia Newton-John, but she's fading in into view, literally like coming
Right.
out of nothing and coming and being, and then fading out again. And she's talking to him the whole time. And he's not looking at this and thinking, well, that's really, really
Exactly.
weird.
Because he didn't want to believe her that she was a
Right.
muse. And it's like, my God, dude.
What else does it take? She literally appeared out of thin air, slowly, like you could see her showing up. How did you not think there's some? Um, my other problem was whenever Gene Kelly, the kid is at Gene Kelly's house.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking at the book. He sees her in the book. He starts to say something about this. This is the girl that I've met.
Yeah.
Gene Kelly starts another conversation. He shuts the book. That's it. It's the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude. If you've seen somebody like that from the 40s, wouldn't you go, that's the girl? This isn't a daughter. This is the girl that I met.
Mm-hmm.
But there was none of that. They're like in the 40s and 50s when they did musicals, they would have fixed all that.
Well, yeah. And there's also another part where Gene Kelly is with Kira
Right.
and he says, don't I know you? And it's like, you would know her. If you had that kind of
Yeah.
intimacy back then,
Right.
he would have known her. It would have been no question.
And I had a problem with that too. He didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
Like, how could you not? And now I understand. Had they showed that she was blocking his memory, like I'm just going to be familiar to you, but you're not going to know me, kind of thing.
They didn't
But there's
explain
no
that.
reason
No.
for her to do that. She's a muse. She's basically a goddess or more powerful than. And there's no reason for me to lie to you.
Yeah.
You're a mere mortal. What do I care what you think? But that fell apart. And there's a scene where he's dancing in his big room,
Mm-hmm.
which I loved. I love that dance scene between the two of them. It was very
Yes.
cute, very, very nice. But again, they never made it clear whether that was really happening or whether it was just happening in his head. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I had a lot of problems with things like that. Like, did that really happen, or are they just thinking that I had a lot of problems with that.
Well, that and I'm going to be all over the place,
Mhm.
and that's just
Go right
because the
ahead.
movie was all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Gene Kelly's character had a dream or whatever to have a club again.
Right.
And that's what happened in the movie. But what was Sonny's dream? Because it sure as hell wasn't to be a club owner.
No, they never say what Sonny's dream was.
Yeah. So all of a sudden,
All of a sudden, he's a club owner. He's an artist.
yeah,
He's a painter.
Sonny's story falls flat.
Yeah. So basically, she was coming back with you saying that she wasn't there so much for Sonny.
No.
She was there for Sam. Sam?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
She was there for Gene Kelly's character.
Yes.
Is what it boils down to.
That's what it felt like. It's like, wait a minute.
By the time that movie ends, that's what you're thinking.
But because you look at how happy Gene Kelly's character is, and he's having a ball roller skate. That's the weirdest fucking club I have ever seen. There's no audience. There's just a show going on.
Yeah.
And it's like,
there was a lot. Again, like I said, there's a lot to love about the show. If you don't care about continuity, that's the problem. It's like their continuity person, they didn't have one.
no, they didn't.
They really needed to have a continuity person in this movie. I think if you were to reshoot this movie or re-edit this movie, if you could get all that real original film together and re-edit it, you'd have to get a good editor in there to go, okay, I can make something of this.
No, I don't think it's savable.
But I don't know that they ever shot any of the connecting points. He gets kissed by the girl in the very beginning of the movie. The girl just comes up, kisses him, and takes off, and he's just standing there.
Yeah.
He goes to work, to a job that he hates, to a boss that he's going to argue with every 5 minutes. He's going back to this job, by the way.
Yeah.
And then he leaves 5 minutes after he's there. As a boss, I don't give a fuck how good you are at your job. I was nice enough to hire your little punk ass.
And then
You came in for 5 minutes and then left, you would not have a job the next day. You'd be gone. Bless you.
Thank
You
you.
would be gone, man. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
But he leaves. Not only does he leave, but he's had a completely different outfit on. He's walking with a jacket, different shirt, different pants. And I'm like, well, is this like a couple of days later? Is he just walking around? No, that's supposed to be right after he left
Yeah.
the job. And they do that a few times where he's walking around doing something and he's like in a completely different
Yeah.
outfit. It's like,
Yeah. The continuity is shot.
is
There's
this
a scene where
days
he meets up with.
later? What is this? I think yeah, they needed a continuity person.
Yeah. Well,
They
when he
didn't
meets
have
up
it.
with
They
Gene
needed a better
Kelly,
script.
he meets up at Gene Kelly at the record store, and
Yeah.
he has that Glenn Miller album. So they
Uh-huh.
go back to his house. They go into that room, and he pulls the album off the shelf. I was like, "Motherfucker, you had it in your arms. How did it get in the shelf?"
Right. Right. And there's a lot wrong. They never made it clear that Kira, Olivia Newton-John character as a muse, was putting those two guys together.
No,
Like he just met him out on the beach, blowing a sack.
which was
Not
weird
a sack,
in
it was a
itself.
clearing. That was a strange because initially when he walks out there, you're thinking he knows this guy already.
Right.
It would have worked better in the story if he had already known the old guy and they had
Yeah.
been buddies, for a year or two or known each other a little bit anyway. But no, he didn't know the guy at all.
Yeah.
Didn't know him, just started chatting with him. And suddenly they're opening up a business together with no money down because Sonny didn't have any money.
No,
I guess the gangs of New York just didn't pay any good money for him.
I guess not.
The Warriors
Maybe he got a pension from the Warriors.
He had a small stipend from the
Yeah.
Warriors.
Yeah.
And Gene Kelly was really good at acting.
Yes.
Olivia Newton-John was very good in her part. She just playing the little cute muse. I can never remember the guy's name. The guy from the Warriors.
Yeah.
The main character.
I can't think of his name either. But
I've seen him in movies. He's
he's
pretty
done
good
a
at.
lot.
He's not super great. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to win like super awards or anything, but he's a pretty solid actor. In this movie, he looked intimidated.
Yeah, he was not right
His
for this part.
acting, no, his acting was super intimidated by these two.
Yeah,
And I think,
don't think he was right.
I would be with Gene Kelly.
Yeah,
I
But
mean,
he
thank
just
God they
didn't- he
never had him dance.
yeah.
Because did you see him in the one scene where the disco's open and he's like at Olivia Newton-John's feet and she's doing her little dance and singing and he's there.
Mhm.
The guy can't even move his shoulders, and I'm like, thank God he didn't dance.
Yeah.
I bet you there at some point somebody's like, we got to have Sonny and her dance, and then looked at him and went, no, you can't
No,
dance.
they
white
actually.
boy. Sit
and
down.
Okay, that brings me to when he takes Kira to the quote recording studio that throws pictures on the wall
Yeah.
for inspiration. No, what the hell? All right, first off, let's just ignore all that. But they're skating around
great
and they
scene,
actually
though.
fly through the air, and he's not even fazed by the fact that he just flew. But he doesn't believe she's a goddess or
No, not at all. Not at all. Because were they roller skating? Here's
Yes.
another thing with all the roller skating that was going on. He'd have his roller skates on, and then they'd be off. He'd be in shoes 2 seconds later, walking down the street. You never seen him draped over his shoulder.
the only time is when he climbed into the auditorium did he
Yeah.
have him over his shoulder.
Yeah.
Other than that, nope.
Any other time, he's just, oh no, I got a little button on the bottom of my shoe. They're roller skates. No, they're not. Look at that.
Yeah.
70s technology. There, like I said, there's a lot. I mean, as a story goes, if you're going to watch this movie, don't go for the story.
Well,
It's almost cute. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, and that's true. But believe it or not, I think the story, not the way it was presented,
Right.
but the whole premise of a guy meeting, he's probably a down on his luck artist and everything, meeting an actual muse and then falling in love is a pretty cool fucking story.
It's a great story.
They did not handle that story well at all. I would have left it ambiguous at the end on whether or not she actually had to return to Olympus or not. That way you could have a happy ending or a sad ending, however you want it.
See, and I was the opposite. When those two kiss, it's like they didn't even know each other. that annoyed me. It's like,
Yeah,
wait,
she like pulled away.
and I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? If they would have made it obvious that Zeus is like, okay, you get to have your moment of humanity and enjoy it, and touched her on the forehead, and then so you realize, okay, Zeus is just taking her memories away from her as being amused, so she can go live with Sunny
Hmm.
as a human being. Sunny remembers her, but now she's just human
Yeah.
and had that moment. And then after Sunny passes away or she passes away as a human, she's amused again with that life memory of love and what it is to be human. That would have been okay. But
Yeah.
there was none of that. Those two, when they kiss or see each other, it's like they're totally have no idea who the other one
There
is.
was no chemistry.
Yes, there was nothing there. And I was
None.
like, wait a minute.
They were not cast well together.
Uh-uh. It was tough. I mean, they got two really good looking people together, and that was it. That's
Yeah,
what
and
that
that
was.
didn't work.
And
They
I
needed that
don't know.
chemistry.
I don't know who you could have cast in that part back then for
Somebody
his
besides him.
character. But I mean, and for a straight guy not to just be falling all over and have that chemistry with Olivia Newton-John back in that day, I can't see it. I mean, it had to be just all nerves for him because she was a superstar by then.
Or they just didn't click. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, because she was a superstar. Gene Kelly's a superstar, and that guy was just out of his league. That would be like putting me in a Shakespeare festival with all the greatest Shakespeare actors out there right now. I would be
yeah, it'd be
like,
intimidating. Yes,
yeah, I mean, and I'm not one to get too intimidated by shit, but that would be
it
intimidating.
would.
You know?
And I don't, I just think it was just a chemistry issue. And like I said, I really think the story. I actually, after watching that, wanted to sit down and start writing a revision
Right.
and write my own version and not call it Xanadu and make another screenplay, one that actually makes sense and has continuity, because I think the bones for a really cool,
Yeah.
touching love story is there. But man, did they miss? We have roller skate. Here's another thing. I like musicals where the music tells a story.
Hmm.
I was watching music videos.
Right.
It's a
Right.
great soundtrack, great songs. They kind of relate, but not really. They weren't written for the movie, it didn't seem like.
Hmm. Well, they said they called in ELO
Mm-hmm.
for the soundtrack. Now I don't know whether they wrote them specifically for the movie or not. I didn't quite make out. The Tubes,
Yeah.
what a weird band to have in there for no apparent reason. I would have picked a better band, but evidently they knew either the director or one of the producers or something was like one of their go-to how to get a job guys, had something to do with them, and that's how they got that gig. And they don't even lie about it. They're like, "Hey, that's the only reason we were there is because we knew so and so." But the one scene that I really do love, and I think was probably really hard to choreograph because they trained both sides differently. The rockin' side
Yeah,
and
when
the
they put the stages
classic,
together.
yeah, the classic '40s music. Those two groups of people were never allowed to meet. They
Really?
did everything separately, and then they put them together. So whenever they started dancing and doing some of their stuff, a lot of their dance moves, oddly enough, were the exact same. So when they started dancing together, there wasn't that much of a difference in the moves and how they were moving with each other, which
That was a
I
really
never
cool.
caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really cool scene, how the song
Yeah.
blended, the people blended, the
And the
stages,
stages,
everything.
is just perfect.
It was cool.
That was a really good. They have a lot of really good stuff in this movie. I do enjoy this movie. I really like Olivia Newton-John anyway, so
Yeah.
that's that's a piece of kryptonite in my tough guy image. I don't have a tough guy image. I'm lying. I'm not a tough guy. But yeah, the chemistry between the two main characters failed miserably.
It's
She
not
had
there.
wonderful chemistry with Gene.
Yeah.
Wonderful chemistry.
Yep.
He taught her how to dance, and they did an interview in this thing with Gene Kelly's wife. Well, she must have been 12 years old when they got married because she didn't look all that old in this interview. But she was talking about how I guess they decided to go back and film something, and Gene Kelly wasn't going to do it. It's the big dance with him and just Olivia Newton-John because they were already done and wrapped, and everybody's like, no, there's got to be There's no time with just those two on screen. That's why nothing fits together. I feel like they filmed everything so much out of sync.
Right.
But whenever he decided to come back, he's like, okay, but it's going to be a closed set, and there's only going to be this, like 5 people on set, including him and Olivia Newton-John. There's only like 3 other people there
Right.
for that scene. And in the time that it took for them to get this all set up, he danced. And the way his wife says he choreographed was for Olivia Newton-John to dance with the girl. So whenever he choreographed it, it was easier for her to just come in because he's already knows how he's going to move against her. So it was easier to teach her how to move. So he's dancing with her rather than her dancing with him.
Yeah, and she did great.
It had to be between Kenny Ortega and Gene. My mind just went blank.
Gene Kelly.
Gene Kelly. I mean, how are you going to be a bad dancer? I mean, I think even I could bumble my way through a couple of good dance moves if I had those two
with
guys.
the right choreography and practice. Yeah, but
right.
she did wonderful. Really and you're right, their chemistry was great.
Mm-hmm.
Sonny was like a side story. In fact, you could even argue that Sonny and Gene Kelly's character were the two that actually came together.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like weird.
Yeah, well, they had that good, young, good-looking guy, and it's almost like somebody. And again, I go back to the original problems with the script, and that original 45-page script. That problem never got worked out.
No,
like it should have been her using Sonny to help this other guy, which is probably what they thought they fixed in the script. But they never came straight out and fixed it.
It never presents that way. It never tells you that's what's going on.
Right. And my biggest problem with this movie isn't the musical. It's definitely not the music. It's definitely not the dancing. It's definitely not Gene Kelly and Olivia Newton-John. No. The guy, Sonny, the character Sonny is... I've seen him in other stuff. Yeah. He's really good. In this movie, he's very bad.
He's miscast.
He's miscast. Very intimidated. He is very stiff as an actor, which, like I said, I've seen him in other stuff where he's not like that.
Right. I think just there was no chemistry. It just wasn't there.
My biggest problem with this movie is the continuity. There's no sense made of some of the things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever he's going to look for her, he finds the big mural on the wall. What's the first thing you do when you see a big mural on the wall? Well, I'm going to roller skate as fast as I can into it, head first.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Unless you saw her come out of the mural or go into the mural at one point.
I was waiting for him to just smack right into it. I was I was disappointed that didn't happen.
Yeah. But why would you do that unless you saw her come in, come out of it, or go into it?
I can let that one go. I think he finally believed who she was, but
right.
It still doesn't make sense. But I can even let that one go.
Right.
But the whole once he got there, that was kind of weird. What we have comic relief from Zeus and Hera,
right?
What?
Right.
Why are they cracking jokes? They're gods.
Yeah, and again, I think if Zeus would have said something to her like, okay, you'll have your moment, and he does kind of, he says, you'll have your moment or your eternity, or something like that to her.
I can't remember which is which.
But he doesn't make it clear that he's taken her memory away. He doesn't make it clear that she's just now immortal, and then she'll be back after she passes away as immortal, or Sonny passes away as immortal.
Yeah.
And none of that's ever made clear to me. And I kind of have a problem with that. I think if you're going to do, it's the same problem that I have with Rogue One. It's a bad, sloppy, lazy writing. The very, very last 3 minutes of that movie, Rogue One, kill me every time I watch it. She should have just shot him. Why do you have the guy with the broken back that dead 5 times fallen? Save her. No, that's you talk about mansplaining something. That was a mansplaining moment. I'm surprised women weren't pissed off about that.
Yeah, he should have been dead.
He broke his back 4 times falling, but that's a whole other movie. But that's the kind of problems that I have with movies when they just end in a dumb way.
Yeah.
And that's a dumb way. And the way they ended this movie was a dumb way. I
This
like
movie needed
Xanadu.
this movie needed a rewrite or two. It needed to honestly get rid of the. I know roller skating was a big thing. I would have been. You could have left it in, but I think it would have been worked better as just a straight up
Right.
dance and song. And I would have
Yeah.
liked to seen more movie specific songs.
Mhm.
And I guess what I'm saying is, outside of Olivia Newton-John, nobody else was singing their songs. You know,
This is true.
so
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it while it is, I guess,
Yeah,
considered a
Gene Kelly
musical.
didn't even sing in that, did he?
What's that?
I don't think Gene Kelly even sang a song, did he?
No,
Which is
no.
really odd.
So you didn't get the everybody busting out into song and
Right.
dance to further the story along and talk about things. Quick
Right.
example, and we're reviewing this later in the month, is Grease. Beauty School Dropout explains a big section of the story, and it's all
Right.
done in song and dance and
Right.
everything.
And
So
it
it's
also explains what's going on in her head. And in
yes,
that movie, you realize she's dreaming this.
yeah,
There is no doubt what's actually happening in her head.
yes.
That's in her head. You
Mhm.
have that. All this other shit, you have no idea. Did that really happen? Did they see this? Like when they turn into cartoons, which is Don Bluth animation is the most beautiful stuff
I
about
loved it.
this movie.
I loved it. I was like, look at that. Where have I seen that? And I waited for the credits. I was like, oh my God, it's Don Bluth.
Don Bluth is, thank goodness for Don Bluth in this movie, because that little bit of animation in there is just beautiful.
It's brilliant.
When they did that, that was just extraordinary. It really is. But there again, when they came out of that, like the Muse, you would figure would know that it was real or not, but the guy didn't even react.
I know.
And I'm like, wait a minute, you were just an animated fish. You were just
a
an animated
fish.
size of a fairy, maybe that big, in a rose. You're flying as a bird, and now all of a sudden you're not, and you're not even reacting to that.
And you still don't believe that she's a muse.
But that's the problem. Like he never reacted.
That's it. Yeah.
Like, yeah, fuck, dude, I've done so many drugs. It's okay.
Why do I still have gills?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem was the fact that he never reacted to anything. Like instead of coming out of it and looking around like, what the heck just happened? And her explaining to him or anything. I don't know. There was little things like that drove me nuts about this. But Beauty School Dropout's a prime example. You know that's in her head. The way they show it, the way they film it, the way when everybody leaves, all of a sudden the background opens up. I mean, you know what's going on in her head. So yeah, that's
not in this. They missed a lot of cues from successful musicals to make this. Actually, from any successful movie or any narrative.
Yeah.
They slapped some shit together. So we got Olivia Newton-John, Gene Kelly. We've got ELO doing the soundtrack. Olivia's doing some songs. It'll make money. And I'm sure it did.
Nope. It failed. It was supposed to open up in over 900 theaters. It opened up in only 249. And they just didn't open it up how it was supposed to be. It was like a last minute thing and no reason given. Nobody had even seen the movie yet. Wow. They just decided less theaters. And then they got ticked off because the one guy was like, had it opened up at that size, we would have made all our money back in the first weekend.
Yeah, they could have at least got it back.
He goes, but what happened is they shot it down to like a third of whatever the theaters were supposed to be, and that was it.
Wow.
So they got a bad rap initially. Now, with that said, it has got a cult following like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I see why. I mean, I look at this movie and I know why. I mean, those dance scenes that they have in these movies
there's some good stuff here.
Blended.
Yeah.
There's a couple of weird scenes in it that I'm like, that's uncomfortably bad. Why are they there? Why are the punk rockers in here for no apparent reason?
That was weird.
Sticking their heads out of cabinets and shit. That's just dumb.
There was some weird 80s.
I would have looked at that and went, you don't put that in a dance number. Let Gene Kelly dance, man. That's what you got him for.
That's where I think, honestly, it could have been with Gene Kelly's character and Kira.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have done this whole movie with 40s music, 40s dance numbers, I think it would have been amazing.
And the thing is, the really good thing about what you just said is ELO could have pulled off that music
Mm-hmm.
very easily,
Yes.
very easily, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all continuity problems that I have, and that's
Yeah.
all. It's all a lot of little continuity problems all put together that I have a problem with this movie. Other than the continuity problems, I love this movie. I really do. I have. I mean, you got Olivia Newton-John, you got Gene Kelly, you got really good dance numbers, you
Yeah.
got some really good big set pieces. I mean, I don't understand the whole roller skating. I mean, I lived through the '80s. I mean, I remember roller skating a couple of times, but I
I
don't
loved
ever
it,
remember.
but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I love roller skating, but I don't ever remember going to a roller disco. I don't. Did they even actually really exist in
I
the '80s?
don't
If so,
know.
where? Because I went to disco night at the roller derby, and we just turned it into a roller derby. Really, I mean, me and my buddies, we slamming into each other. but but it was yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember like
Yeah.
discos. Did they
I,
exist?
I don't either, and I'm with you. I think the roller skating could have went, but I get why they did. It was that time. It's
Right.
just like the breaking movies, which I'm sure have better continuity than this. I'll have to go watch them. It's been a while.
You don't have to watch them, Scott.
It can be better than this.
It's well, continuity wise, it's probably better than
And see, that's the
story wise. They're horrible.
yeah.
This had a good story, like you said.
It does. It's got good bones.
Mhm.
I think it was just handled poorly. It was executed poorly.
And I think the director, honestly, I think from watching the special, I think the director did everything he could to
Yeah.
fix it. And it's not his job to rewrite the script.
No.
He's got people for that. Here, fix this. Oh, great! You just gave me more crap, but more pages of it. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's true. You can't save everything, and that's I, again, good bones,
Mhm.
good music,
Yeah.
just the execution of it.
Great stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad chemistry between Olivia Newton-John and the lead actor, Sonny.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
wasn't there. I didn't believe it. Didn't
Which is
feel
really odd because, like I said, I've seen him in other stuff.
Yeah.
And I liked him.
it. It just, sometimes people just don't click.
Yeah. And something happened. And I honestly, I'm going to boil that down to intimidation.
It could have been.
I think he looked at Olivia Newton-John, who is the biggest singer of the day, the biggest actress probably of that time
Mm-hmm.
in that 10-year period. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I got to work against Olivia Newton-John. Okay, I got my head wrapped around that. Okay, I can do this. I can do this. Oh, and Gene Kelly's here. Oh, fuck.
Fucking kill me now.
What do you mean, Gene Kelly? And Kenny Ortega is going to teach you to dance. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go I'm going to go to my trailer and just sit down and cry for a while.
It seems like their heads were or their hearts at least were in the right place. This is what we want to do. We want to have it. Like I said, I love the story. I just think the story has so much potential. I just don't like what I saw from it. And
I don't think they wrote the character of Sonny well.
No, no, they really didn't.
Really prima donna.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're supposed to be like, yeah, fuck the boss. I'm how old I am, looking at the boss going, well, the boss is a dick, but Sonny, I would have fired. I would have fired the guy too.
They tried to give the impression that Sonny broke out on his own and was doing art and just couldn't make it. But I didn't care because he was a douche.
Yeah, he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, if we could have shown Sonny as somebody who's very talented and really, I mean, they tried to show it, but I don't think they showed it well because I didn't have any empathy for him.
Right.
And then that whole thing of the muse showing up and helping him would have been, wow, this is cool. We're going to see a comeback story that's aided by the gods and maybe a love interest in here and some singing and dancing, and it'll be a good flick.
Yeah, it would have been great.
We didn't get it.
And whenever they never made it clear as to why Gene Kelly's character liked the Sonny character so much.
No, that was weird.
And I'm going to make you my business partner, but you don't have to put any money down. What do you want from me, old man? Sex? What's going on here? I feel like you want.
Yeah, I'm going to give you half a club. Why?
Yeah, like I don't know anything about it. He even comes out and says it. I don't know anything about it. That's okay.
Yeah, and that's where I have problems. If she really showed up for Sonny, he didn't accomplish his dream.
No, I, in retrospect, talking to you about this out loud, I think she came back for Gene,
I think so.
and I think she just fell in love with Sonny for whatever reason. I don't know.
I don't either.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
But what are you gonna do? Like I said, I think there's some bad writing going on that needed to be fixed. And it's all continuity. It's all a lot of little stuff put together, which is what drags it down for me in a story.
Yeah.
Now, as far as if there was a Xanadu party going on and I was invited to it, I'd probably go to it because it'd be
Okay.
a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun.
It would.
The movie I will probably watch more times now because there is so much to like about it,
There is.
and you just have to ignore the storytelling because the storytelling was horrible.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to blame the director. I don't blame the director one bit.
There's too many moving parts to blame just the director.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed watching it. I've seen a lot worse, but
Oh yeah.
because of the continuity and because of the issues that we discussed,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's bad, but not so bad that I'm going to say don't watch. I will say go
Right.
watch it.
Yeah.
It's got some really cool stuff, and I'd like everybody to at least take a look at it and see the potential to a really cool story. I
It's
think
got some
where they
very
were
cute
going could have
moments.
been better.
Yeah, yeah. It could have definitely been better. And like the director said, they kept giving me scripts that were longer, but nothing was fixed.
Yeah.
Like he saw the holes in it. And he, as a director, he's like, well, why? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? And whoever was in charge was like, no, just film it. We're good. We got this. Okay.
He probably didn't have a lot of say or a lot of
No,
ability to change anything.
I
So
think he said it was his first movie,
oh yeah.
first motion picture.
Oh
Like,
God.
yeah, I guess
Poor
he had
guy.
done other stuff, but this was like his first big break. And you know what? You're gonna assume the guys that are telling you to do stuff know what they're talking
Yeah.
about. That failed miserably, poor guy.
Yeah. Hopefully he
But
got more work.
yeah, I don't know. I have to look up his name. But yeah, I would say see it, watch it, enjoy it for what it is. A cute little, neat, cute kind of. I'm gonna save the day. We're gonna put on a show. The show makes no sense. Don't try and make sense of it. The roller skating
The
samurai guys
80s
at one
punks.
point. Yeah, the 80s punks with the hair. Dancing with Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
One
I
of the
will
things.
give you Janine's review was I actually like The Last Dragon now. So
Kat loves this movie. Kat
yeah.
really does love this movie. She's
And
she's a big
and that's
fan.
it. There is a following to this movie of
Yeah,
people who absolutely just love it.
yeah.
Hey, cool.
And I really like it. I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you. I really like it now. The first time I saw it, I hated it, which
Yeah.
was many years ago. We got the disc a while back, a few months ago, and I think I told you about it. I had
You
watched
did.
it, and I think that's when you were like, "I've never seen that. Let's review that one." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Cool, we'll do that." I watched it this third time with a more critical eye as to why I didn't like it the very first time, and that's probably why. Everything we just talked about is probably the reason that I didn't like it the first
Yeah.
time. But not knowing why, I just know this bad, horrible movie. Well, it's not a horrible movie. There's a lot of good moving parts in it.
There is.
It just
And
weren't put together the right way.
right. And that's one thing I didn't notice until we started critically reviewing movies is I would just dismiss a movie. But
Right,
I set a goal when I watch a movie is like, try and find something good in here,
right.
because I'm going to find the bad, but look for the good. And we've had a few where there's just no good.
Yeah, eat my dust.
Yeah. The Devil's Express.
Devil's Express. We always come back to those two.
Those are just bad
Those are the
fucking
two
movies.
bad movies. It's
This
always-
has enough good in it to not be on the never watch list.
yeah. I mean, you got Olivia Newton-John. I'm still waiting for Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta to do another meet cute movie. Maybe, as older couple
in a nursing home.
that have lost contact and all of a sudden they're back together and they're trying to get together. I would love to see that because they're so good. Those two have good chemistry.
They have absolutely excellent chemistry.
They wouldn't have been able to afford John Travolta at the time to put him in that part.
No, but he would have been perfect.
he would have been perfect, because at that point, I think he knew enough about storytelling to read a script and go, you got to fix this. You got to fix this. I know I'm dancing with Gene Kelly. Relax. You got to fix this. Gene Kelly, Gene, you agree with those fixes? Yeah. Gene says fix it too.
Yeah.
Olivia's too nice to say anything to you guys.
Yeah. Big issues, but entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very cute. It's a nice movie. I kept waiting for the guy to put on his warrior vest and go walk off into the distance, but he didn't.
Yeah, that just it is. I think you're right, and I really didn't catch it last night when I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the chemistry.
Yeah. It just, he was just so stiff.
Yeah,
and he never delivered a line, even when he was acting with the other actors in.
Yeah, he was stiff everywhere in that movie.
He was just not. I think he was just nervous.
Yeah, it didn't make
I'm
sense.
not sure when Warriors came out. I don't know if he did Warriors before this.
He did.
Or after this.
It was before.
It was before?
Yeah, so this should have been no problem.
Yeah, he should have been able to walk through this with no problem.
He was out of place. That's all it was.
Yeah, it's just not in his wheelhouse to
Nope.
do romantic comedies.
No.
Which isn't, and I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming the guy who put him in that job.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I had a chance to work with Olivia Newton-John. I'd be like, I get to kiss Olivia Newton-John. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, and that, and again, I think you've already touched on this.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime he did lean in to kiss her, she always pushed away.
Mm-hmm.
It was really weird. And I know that was probably part of the script, but
Right.
It was like, what are y'all doing? She's either in love with him or not.
Yeah.
Let her lose herself in the moment.
And then to say that I loved him so much, but you never had, they never showed an intimate moment with the two of them.
No, it was weird.
Yeah, it just, nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like I'm really degrading the movie.
Well, it deserves some of it.
Maybe one or two people that are listening, but it's a good movie. It's a fun movie, but it's not well put together.
Yep.
You put it that way.
Yep.
That's my review. See the movie. It's fun. You like musicals. It's got a lot of good music, a lot of good dance numbers, a lot of good big piece sets.
Yeah.
And it's good stuff. It's got Olivia Newton-John singing. It's got Gene Kelly dancing.
Yeah.
And then the dance scene between the two of them is just.
It's great. Probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah, I would put that up there with any Gene Kelly dance number, other than the one with Jerry Mouse. Jerry Mouse dance number and him is better. But that's it.
All right.
And nobody knows what I'm talking about. Figure it out.
I have no idea.
On YouTube.
I will look it up. I will have to look it up because I was impressed with the dance number of Gene Kelly and Olivia Newton-John.
Oh,
so
wait at least with Jerry Mouse.
At least next week, we are going to review a real classic.
Yes.
What is it, Dave?
It's The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music.
The Sound of Music. Dave is bringing in a special guest, his friend
my buddy
Mal.
Mallory will be here. She's really cool. She's a huge fan of the Sound of Music. So I
look forward to it.
And not only am I going to do the review, I'm going to look stuff up because I'm sure she's going to throw some facts out at me that I'm going to be like, what? Who? What? Glenn. Let me get on the internet. Type. I don't know what you're talking about, Mallory.
So
yes, buddy Mallory is going to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. She's just great. She's a wonderful human being.
Great. I look forward to it, and join us next week when we do the Sound of Music.
You okay there?
I'm good. I got a little choked up. Later.
That's good.